to join us. Stand for the, Mrs. Pro want to give the invocation and then pledge allegiance, and we do the flag right up there.
Okay. Let's pray. Father God, I thank you so much for the opportunity to come together. It's so important that all of us who care about and love our community and our schools and our children, that we're able to come together and discuss the things that need to be done, the things that are going good, and the things that we need to improve on. I just ask that you be with us now as we begin this meeting and throughout the meeting. Allow us to have open minds, to speak clearly, and to do what is best for our community and our school and our children. It is in Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go around the table and have the members of each board introduce ourselves, and we're going to start with Dr. Barfield, and we'll go this way.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Beth Barfield. I'm the superintendent of schools.
Clay Browning, Morehaven City Council.
Jacob Wagner, Morehaven City Council.
Mark Decker, Morehaven City Council.
Jean Prolott, school board member.
Crystal Drake, school board.
Donna Storm, Glades County Commissioner.
Patty Taylor, Glades County Commissioner.
Kimberly Clement, Glades County School Board member.
Alicia Beck, Morehaven City Council.
Jenny Allen, Glades County School Board.
Patricia Pierce, Glades County School Board.
I'm Mike McKinley, the school board attorney. Tim Stanley, Glades County Board of County Commissioners.
Mark Pasioka, Glades County Union.
Brittany Heflin, Administrative Secretary to
Amy Pierce Simmons, Glades County Clerk of Work.
Brian Rustin, I'm the Director of Administrative Services.
Larry Tibbs, City Manager, Morehaven.
Rosemary Flory, Glades County Economic Development Council.
City Clerk.
Alitris Marr, Supervisor of Election.
That it? Okay, we're going to handle the meeting that each organization, each board is going to make their presentation, and then public comment will be down at number 5 if you got an agenda, and each person will be allowed to have 3 minutes to speak. So we're going to start with number 1, which is the school board update, and that will be Dr. Barfield.
Where's the recorder?
I'm going
The recorder? Yeah.
We do our school. I
Yeah.
think this is red.
It's on now, it's on. It's on.
It picks up the whole.
It's coming on. Sorry, it's coming. The presentation's coming on.
It'd be better if we dim the light.
Thank you.
No, I can't see. As we're waiting for this to begin, we'd like to thank you for coming this evening. It is amazing that 3 governmental agencies can do something positive in Glades County, and so we feel very privileged to be a part of this evening. I'm going to kind of skip. I'm going to let, we're going to do our school presentation first, and at the end, I will do our update. Back in August, the Glades County School Board and myself and Mr. Gressett and Mr. Al Brown went to Tallahassee because of the dire need for a new elementary school. And with that, that group that went, we took letters of, I'm going to stand here in the white because I can't see my list here, but Representative Kaylee Tuck, Sheriff David Harden, Joe Collins, the Senior Vice President for Lights Brothers, our County Commission, our ITech in Glades County, our EDC, Donna Storter Long, Alidra Sparnham, not past and present educators at Moorhaven and Glades, West Glades School, Artist Hammock, Moorhaven Scholarship Committee, our property appraiser Lori Ward, J.J. Wiggins Memorial Trust, Landon Dirt Development, and the Glades Educational Foundation wrote letters in support of a new school and how important this project means to not only our county, but our community. Okay, so tonight, we're going to be presenting you the presentation that we gave the state group. So, a little bit about Glades County, where we are, that you all know where we are, but this is a little background of our community. Our West Glades is a K-8 school, and there's currently 607 students. Moorhaven Middle High School has 507 students. Moorhaven Elementary, which is a pre-K through 5th grade, they have 376 students. And Payetta Imahawga Charter has about 299 students. One of the things that the state facilities was very interested in, why this was so important to us. This is a picture of me, and I can promise you that never, ever, besides that day, did I ever wear anything that starched in my life. But that was a picture of me and Kim. We were looking at the statistics today. I'm pretty sure other than Lynn that started kindergarten from Moorhaven High School, I am 100% roots in Glades County. I started in, so about 47 years that I've been tied to this school. So it's very personal to me. And I'm very passionate. Every child in Glades County to have the same educational opportunity that the very, very best school system in the state has. So this is a little bit of, and this was, like I said, some of you know these stats and figures. Actually, some of you probably helped us get some of these figures. But just to give you what we talked about, we are designated Strain County. We are extremely rural. 86.9% of our population resides in an unincorporated portion of the county. The average for the state is 49.5, and our main industrial are sugarcane, vegetable, swimming, and tourism.
Fishing. You said swimming.
Swimming? Okay, we're going to swim.
You know what I mean.
I learned to swim. Our disability rate is 6 out of 67 counties. So that's our population in 2020 was 13,609 people, and we're the 64th most populated county out of 67 counties. Our median income, you can see, the value of 1 cent of our local option sales tax generates about $1,021,326. So the per capita value of 1 cent is $75. The average for the state is $213. To Brian Gressett, and he is going to talk to you about our construction project.
Okay, so the project itself, we're looking to raise and replace Moorhaven Elementary, which means that we're looking at demolishing the school and building a new school. And in doing so, we're looking to provide a safe, healthy learning environment for all our students and staff. So this is Moorhaven Elementary. Currently, right now, it has about 376 students, 335 in K-5 and 41 pre-K, and it opened in 1968. Oops, sorry. They can read that too. They can see that ethnicity-wise, it's 46% Hispanic, 35% white, 17% African American, and 2% Native American. So this is actually a map of the school right now. On the north side, you can see where the high school baseball field is. This would be the cafeteria. This would be the school itself. Building 8 right now is occupied by kindergarten classrooms. Building 9, also called the Ritchie Building, one side of it's used, actually both sides of it's used for specials. The one side has a gym with a, you call it a gym, but it doesn't have any basketball hoops, but it does have a stage on there. Behind here, you can see that there's a small playground right in here. There are some portables back in here that are actually used for district offices. And there's kind of a playground hardtop right here, and this is where the current district office is located. Go, Jay. All right, so these are the current issues and concerns. I put instructional distractions first, and I'll tell you that why I do that. I'm a former principal. I was a principal for 23 years, and I know a little bit about schools. There's lack of storage, plumbing and sewage is concerns, fire alarm system, lack of play safe space, ADA compliance issues, inadequate parking capacity for staff and visitors, safety and security concerns. The portable classrooms that are out there being used right now are over 35 years old, well past their useful life. There's a lot of technology concerns, electrical age and capacity, doors and windows, so you can read all of those. Good job. So these are the classrooms. If you'll see, it's an open classroom. This school was actually built at a time where it was like, let's love everybody. Let's all get together. We're going to have one big classroom. We'll have 100 kids in that one big classroom. Everybody's going to sit on the floor. You're talking about the late 60s right now. And they thought that this open concept was going to work out. And throughout the United States, you're going to find schools that are built in the late 60s, early 70s had this open concept. And what happened right away is everybody in the school figured out that's not going to work. So they had to put up false walls. The problem with putting up false walls is that they weren't designed along with like the HVAC system. So if you look, like this wall right here doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling, and that's because you wouldn't get a return on your air conditioning. Each one of these classrooms has openings above it, and they're thin walls. One of the things I was talking about was a lot of noise. So if there's noise in one classroom, the classroom next door is going to hear what's going on as well, and which is very difficult for some of our students that have ADD or ADHD. Also, when they put the walls up, the classrooms turn into odd-shaped configurations. Most of them are triangles, and if you'll notice when they did this, there's not a whole lot of space for storage. In fact, you'll see very little storage that's in the classroom currently. Also, the classrooms are only about 905 square feet, which is fairly small. And a lot of times what they've had to do is they've had to go out to the hallways for special groups and stuff like that, or pulling kids out for tutorial. The hallways, there are some block hallways. These hallways right here are false walls that were created to make a hallway. And here are some of the concrete walls. But if you'll notice up top, there's a lack of suppression sprinklers. If there was a fire in most buildings right now, the fire sprinklers would come on. Because of the age of this school, there are no fire sprinklers in the school itself. These are multi-use bathrooms. All the pods have a multi-use bathroom. So even first graders, if they have to use the restroom, they have to leave their classroom to use the restroom unless they do it as a group. You're going to find in most modern classrooms, especially K through 2, they have their own self-contained restrooms that are right there. So they can kind of keep an eye on things. This is the current media center. There are a lot of shelves for books. There's a lot of that. But the concerns are there's a lack of electrical connections for technology. In fact, over here on this wall right here, there's a long extension cord that runs all the way to the top of this shelf and then comes down so that this whiteboard can be used in order to teach kids. Many of the more modern media centers will have a lot of places where kids can get on computers also. There are a lot of programs where kids can just read on a computer. They don't actually have to get a book. Many of you probably do the same thing. You have a Kindle or something like that where you read books that way. But there's a total lack of access for that. This is the cafeteria. The cafeteria is not in horrible shape by any means. It was actually used by the elementary school and the middle high school at one time. The one thing that is kind of a problem is it sits next to an open visitors gate, which can be a security problem. Also, there are no bathrooms currently in the cafeteria. So when students have to use the restroom, they have to go out the door and they have to go into a gang restroom that's actually outside of the cafeteria. So there's a lack of monitoring that can happen. Prior to us putting a fence up in front of the school, I was very concerned about anyone could come on campus and they could just hide inside this restroom at any time they wanted, and most times you wouldn't know. This is the exterior, the outside. You can see that we're using these freezers and coolers on the outside. They have quite a bit of wear to them. They're quite old, and they're still doing the job right now, but they probably could use an upgrade. Here's one of the portable classrooms. Actually, we're using two of them. One we're using for occupational therapy, physical therapy, and another one we have slated for an alternative school if we have kids who get expelled. Like I said, they are very old and they are starting to break down. There is no covered walkway that goes to these rooms, so if a student needs to go to physical therapy, then they need to wait till the rain's done or else they go across into the rain. Lack of play area. This is the only PE area. They do try and go across into where the softball, baseball fields are, but this is the main area that they have, and it's on a slope, which is rather interesting. This is their main playground. There's room for them to play on some different apparatus, and there is an area where they have a basketball court, so they can run a little bit. There's not a lot of open space though for kids to play, and really in these days of a lot of kids being overweight, they need those areas to spread out and do some running. ADA compliance concerns. Right now, like there are no buttons on the doors to allow someone in a wheelchair to get inside. There are no ramps for students to go up to resource rooms. They're all steps, so someone has to pull them up over the steps. There's some makeshift walkways right here in order for access for our wheelchair people. There are no ADA stalls. There are no bathrooms that are situated for someone who might be in a wheelchair. This is part of the parking. There's parking behind the cafeteria. There's some parking that's in front of the school, and then there's some parking that's behind the district office. Not necessarily adequate, especially if you're going to have any kind of groups that are going to be coming for any kind of plays or programs or anything like that. You can see that some of this is kind of seen a better day too. It definitely needs to be reworked and some kind of topping on that asphalt. This is an older slide. There were some drop-off and pickup concerns because last year, like this is the presentation we did before, last year the drop-off was in the front of the school, and so what was happening is you had traffic that was coming in and going out. Over here, where the high school was going in, there was a lot of congestion. This is the same place right here. I've seen on many occasions where people that are in a hurry would just drop their kids off at the stop sign, and then the kids would go running into this driveway right here. Fortunately, we didn't have anybody get hurt, but when there's that much traffic, there's always a potential for that. Security fencing. One of the first things that is I'm also the Safe Schools Director. One of the first things I did is put up this fencing along the front of the school so that there's single access for people to get inside. Before it was all open. We actually spent about $55,000 on fencing right here. Now we do get $42,000 every year from the state for security measures, but last year we spent close to $90,000 on fencing at the different schools, and this was a big part of it right here. But, okay, and this is actually a 3-foot fence that, where this is now where the parent drop-off is. And really, I'm kind of an old guy, and I could still jump this 3-foot fence if I wanted to. So this year, we spent about $30,000, and we made this a 5-foot fence that goes all the way around here to be more secure. But that was one of our things in our 5-year plan, so we've already taken care of that. Front office security, all the new programs want single entry, and there is single entry right here, kind of. And I say kind of because once they get through the front gate, then they can get into the hallways. But if an intruder was to come into the front right here, they have access to go to the right or the left, and they can go down hallways if they wanted to. There are no bathrooms that are up front, so anyone can just walk through and go into where a restroom may be, and they have open access to the school. Electrical, this was the electrical post that we first were looking at. This was improved by the city. This was actually a leaning post at one time. It's now straightened up, which we're thankful for. The thing about this is high voltage. This is 480 volts, and it's about 10 feet from the school. And should anything happen, if the pole was to fall or if something were to arc, then that could be a problem. We also had some issues in the past where they actually used like kind of a baling twine in order to keep a gate closed. So if a student threw their frisbee over the gate, many times they can reach in, or some of them are skinny enough to slide in there. Since then, we've kind of beefed that up, so hopefully that will never happen. I showed this map to the special facilities people, just so they kind of get an idea of what one mill will purchase in each county. So here's Glades County. 1 mill for us, if we didn't use it for anything else, would buy us 5 school buses. That's how much we generate. Now, Henry County, just to our south over here, they have a little bit more. They can buy 3 times as many buses with their mill. Okeechobee can do 21 buses. Highlands, 33 buses. Charlotte County, about 100, well, over 100 plus buses they could buy with their mill money. So, and really, the mill money that we use is for the most part, for all our maintenance. If we need to fix air conditioners, or if we need to, sewer line is backed up. If we need a new vehicle so that some of our guys can get where they need to go, that all comes out of that 1 mill. Mr. Brown, this is your part right now. Do you want to talk right now? Or?
Yes, in reference of the electrical in the building.
I don't know if everybody knows Al Brown. He hugged just about everybody's neck.
Yeah, in the elementary building, our electrical situation is inadequate. The disconnects, the breakers that we have in there, they're obsolete. As he mentioned, the sprinkler system, the fire alarm system is obsolete. It's an old fire alarm system, so it doesn't really help us a lot as far as protection for the kids. We also have issues with the ceiling, the grid work that support the roof of the elementary. That situation has been, the decking has gotten wet from the roof leaks, and as well as the support system is starting to rust, and we're more concerned about the weight of the roof and the structure of it, how much longer it will sustain a hurricane for something to happen in that situation. The grid work, the drainage on the roof, we have issues with that as well, but we do the best we can to maintain the situation of not getting water into the school, trying to divert the water the best we can. But we do everything we can maintenance-wise to maintain a safe operating school so the kids can learn as well. Other issues we have would be, oh yes, the outside exterior of the building, the windows, the grid work that support the windows, the rust and stuff support over the years has rusted out the window support as well as the door hinges. We went in and changed out all the door hinges because they can function better, but yet they're in need of changing the doors themselves, also in need of changing. Roof, we talked about in the roof leaking. This is the way the water is coming off the roof. When it's the flat roof, the way it's diverted to come off is splashing onto the sidewalks. Kids walking and going to the lunchroom, they're walking through this to get to the lunchroom when it's raining, and that's just a safety hazard for them as well as getting wet. And you can see the washout at the base of the school right there where the water's ponding at the bottom. We don't have adequate drainage to get rid of the water to the storm drain. So that's an issue as well that we try. And as you can see, the bricks start to deteriorate, and intrusion of the base, the water is getting into the base of the school because of the way the foundation is set up. But it's just a wet area for us. Here's what I was talking about, the bricks are starting to separate, intrusion. Some of the soffit work right there, rusting out from water getting in underneath. The structure of the soffit is starting to deteriorate. We paint, scrape, and do what we can with it, but nevertheless, it's getting to a point now that the structure of it is starting to lose its strength. This is what we're talking about in the ceiling, the grid work, the ceiling tile, roof leaking, having a lot of roof leaks throughout, being a flat roof. The corrugated metal, when the roof is leaking, the water is traveling down the corrugated metal, and the wire that supports the grid work, as it screwed through the corrugated metal, now the water is running down that corrugated metal in the trough and then running down the wire, and we get into this, and this is the structural metal, the red metal that rusting out of the roof and the roof decking. This is our flat roof. More the roof decking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even after all the work that we've done on the roof, we did a thermonuclear scan last spring where someone went up on top and walked the whole thing with this machine. It tells us where all the wet spots are. Well, what they did is they went through and they took out all the wet spots, they patched it, but then we were still having leaks. So we brought in another company. They've been working with us, and by the way, they found 21 leaks. 21 spots in the roof, including bullet holes. Because sometimes people get a little happy and they shoot up whatever comes up, goes up, has to come down. So we found a couple of those too, but we've also found that when new AC units were put on top of the roof, the company that the AC units themselves were smaller than the originals. And so what they had to do is they had to fill in the gap where the bigger AC units had been. Excuse me. And they filled it, but for some reason there wasn't a great job done on just the edges of where all that was put together. And so now it's been leaking. We've had people up there now that are resealing those edges, trying to make sure that we keep the water out of the school. But last spring, when I talked to the school board, I gave them some different proposals as to what we could do as far as a new school. And the first proposal was that we could replace the current school. And the current school right now is on about a little less than 3 acres of land, well, probably about 6 acres, more like 6 acres. If you notice these two buildings right here, they actually encroach on part of this property here because this is owned by the school board as well. But if we were to do that, well, actually you can go to the next slide. Here are some of the pros and the cons that we started with. The pros were, all of the current utilities are in place, sewer, water, and power, and no other properties will be disturbed. The cons were, first of all, portables would need to be rented. And I know that when they built the high school, they brought in a portable city, and they had a big gang bathroom. We were talking, and that was 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago now. Well, since then, there was something called Parkland that happened. And when Parkland happened, then all kinds of safety and security measures went into place. And so if we were to do a portable sites right here, we would have to rent the portables. Plus, we'd also have to do all the site work. We'd have to have power, we'd have to have sewer in every portable, and water, of course, too, because now you'd have to have a restroom in just about every classroom. Now, 3, 4, and 5, they can still use a gang bathroom, but K through 2 should really have their own inside. We'd have to find a place where we can put security fencing and cameras, because that's all part of all the Parkland stuff right now. There would be a student disruption in learning, because it would take 3 years in order to first knock the old school down and then build it and then go back in it. There are questions on how they would get breakfast and lunch, because now they'd have to transport from the middle high school. There'd be questions on buses and car loop, drop off and pickup, making sure again that it's all safe. The costs associated with building the portable schools would come out of the special facilities funding. So the state isn't paying any extra for us to rent these portables. And some people can say that I'm crazy, but when I went to a special maintenance meeting with Mr. Brown, one of the things they talk about right now is if you were to rent these portables, plus with all the power, sewer, water, all these things, you figure about $100,000 per portable. And we're looking at probably needing about 25. So that money would all come out of what we would put into a brand new school, which is about 10%, a little more than 10% of what the state is looking at funding us for this. Also, there would be a lack of parking space, and of course, a lack of play space. Proposal number 2, this was actually the original one that we had looked at too, is actually using the current baseball field. The school board owns parcel 86 and 85, which would be about 6 acres too. It'd be just like the current. Since then, we've actually purchased this lot 68. So really, feasibly, you have about 8 acres. And also, there's a possible we could close Avenue K, so we could use some of this land that's to the south of us too. Some of the pros and cons: there's an open area to build a school, which means that we don't have to disrupt any kind of learning. It's near current utilities. You could possibly close Avenue K, and there wouldn't be any disruptions of instruction. Some of the cons: limited space case lot 68 is purchased. We've done that, and Avenue K Southwest is closed. That would be a question. Once the purchase of lot 68, you'd have to look at installing a culvert, which would take money on new construction. The baseball field would need to be replaced. There is a problem with a big lift station that would be right in the middle of all that property, and that probably would not be moved. There'd be continued traffic concerns because you'd still be on the same road as the highway, and the school would be adjacent to Highway 27. A lot of people felt that wouldn't be a great thing, driving down 27. So, this is proposal 3. The school board owns all 4 of these lots. Right now, we are in a 99-year lease with this. This is the Challenger grounds, and we are actually looking at building on these 3 lots, which would be about 9 acres. These are open properties right here. If we did it all together, it'd be about 12 acres, but we're not planning on using this. If you go to the pros and cons, there's plenty of room to build a new school. There's room for recess and PE fields. It'd be beneficial for traffic concerns. Special facilities money would be added to replace the current transportation facility. The current transportation facility has quite a few years on it as well. This does not come out of our cost for the school if we have to move that. And there wouldn't be any disruption of construction. Cons, Challenger grounds. At one time, we were looking at the possibility of just using a portion of the Challenger grounds and sharing that with the tenant. We're not necessarily looking at that right now. The transfer facility would need to be replaced, which that's a pro and a con. It needs to be replaced. And just so you know that during Challenger last year, I went to the very back of the field I was talking about, just to kind of show you that, actually to show the board that that whole back third of the Challenger grounds is not used for the rides or anything. It's just used for parking over here. Okay, and proposal 4. Many of you may or may not know, because I didn't know this at first, but the school board actually owns all these lots. They own all the lots that the softball field's on, the baseball, and all the other baseball fields. This would be a great place to build a school too. There's plenty of room to do that. And we actually have access over here. We own this parking lot right over here. There would be actually access that would put us together with these buildings that we're keeping. Pros and cons, plenty of room to build a new school, able to connect to the current buildings, your current utilities, beneficial traffic concerns and no disruption of instruction. Cons, we need to move the softball field, and then the big one would be the recreation fields. Where would they all go? Because right now we're in a lease with the city on that. This is the current property map, just so you can kind of see. These are the 4 lots I was telling you by the transportation. The school board owns these lots as well. You can see where the elementary is, the cafeteria, and the school board office is. So this is what the school board has come up with. They liked the third choice, and that would be actually putting the school over on this property. That way we bring the buses through here. Parent traffic would be up here. Actually, this whole school concept right here is only a placekeeper. We can make a whole lot of changes to how that configuration is. That's not in stone by any means. When this happens, then the transportation building would move over here, and we would get a new transportation building. Actually, we're looking at about, right now, since the state has approved this so far, it just has to go through the funding stage. We're looking at a little over $25 million to build the new school. We would get a little over $3 million from the state in order to build a new transportation department. We would receive about $300,000 to renovate these buildings right here and turn them into district offices. Because currently these portables are being used for district offices, but by demolishing them, we actually get more what's called student stations. We get more funding towards this school right here. Some of the things that we're playing with too is that over here where the cafeteria is, we may even think about keeping some of that, not necessarily where the freezers are and stuff like that. And I'd have to talk to our architect about that, special facilities, because we thought about that might go into something with the city if they wanted to, or the county, about using that as a recreational type area, like want to have meetings there if they're going to have PTAs or anything like that. And then we also are looking at possibly moving the softball field over here where the school was, so it can be closer to the high school. And in doing so, that would actually free up more space for softball for the city. So this is the group that went to Tallahassee and actually did their talk. I think we did pretty well, because special facilities people said that not only did we have a critical need, but they put us in first place. We were the winner. We were number 1 on the list. And really, that's where we want to be right now. So when they're looking at funding, this is what type of funding we're looking at. About a little over $34 million right now, which would be amazing. And that all breaks into new construction, site development, all those kinds of things. And this is the placeholder I was telling you about. I just gave you kind of a close-up of that. This is how, I mean, if we were to build it the way it is, we could actually build the school, keep the transportation barn for now until the school is built, and we could build a transportation barn, and then we would demolish it, so we'd have much more room over here too. Now, I'm showing you this because I went to Bonifay, Florida, and they received special facilities funding in 2014, it would have been. So what they decided to do is, this is the old Bonifay school. It was built in 1919. And what they decided to do is they want to kind of replicate it. So now this is the new Bonifay school. So it is a two-story building, and we are very open to a two-story building for our school as well. So next one. So really, our new school could look a lot like this if we wanted to. Well, I hope it looks better than this being a two-story building, and really by having a two-story building, it utilizes more space, and also it allows for us to have more space, more growth, because we're looking at a 50-year deal right now. We're not going to get another elementary school, probably, especially by special facilities, in Moorhaven for another 50 years. So we really want to make sure that we have what we want. The old school, it was well loved, no doubt about that. Well loved. But it is time for something new, just like this one was well loved too, I can tell. But that was really our presentation.
After the meeting is over, I will be swimming in the Clusa-Hatchie. He'll be jumping fences, so if you'd like to come watch. Going with our agenda, I just want to give you some updates. I know the county and opportunity, but just want to give you some things that we're doing at the school. We're very proud of the work that is going on in the school district. First thing, I just want to say that I am blessed to have an amazing school board. My school board, I would put them up against any school district around here, any governmental agency. I'm very proud of them. We work excellent together. A couple of things, of course, our number one excitement is that we were ranked number one by the special facilities, and that's a $34 million project that will be coming into Glades County, and that is going to affect every child in Moorhaven and surrounding counties. Because when people want to build, come to a business, the first thing they want to talk about is, what are your schools like? EDC, you can probably back me on this. What are your schools like? Well, if you bring a school that's run down and falling apart, they're gonna say yes. But when you come to a brand new school and it's gonna be beautiful and clean and the top of the line computer systems, they're gonna want to bring their businesses here, and there we're also gonna be able to have our students. Okay, the next couple of things is, this is the first year that Glades County has air-conditioned school buses on the road. That's a big deal for us, so we're excited about that. We need some air conditioning up in this room. But also, this is exciting. This is kind of scary because when I first heard about it, I was a little apprehensive, but now I think it's a great thing. Glades County School District has applied for 13 electric school buses, and we were awarded and granted all 13. So basically what that's going to do is that's going to take our entire fleet out of West Glades, because the electric school buses are run, they can only go so far, obviously, now my husband would tell you I could run them out of electricity like I do gas, but I will tell you that there's a certain amount of miles that they can go, and we were awarded all 13. Okay. Through COVID, our collegiate program, our enrollment has doubled, and I am really excited. I want you to leave this meeting and talk about this meeting to as many people as you can, and I want you to tell them this. If a student graduates from Moorhaven High School's collegiate program with a 3.0, That means they have 2 years of free college. 3 more years of free college at Florida Gulf Coast University. They will have, it's 5. It's 5 years, 3 years of Florida Gulf Coast, so they can actually get their master's degree as well. So that's very exciting. And that's for students that deserve it, because transportation for many of our kids is an issue. And if you live in an outlying area and your parents don't have the opportunity to provide you with a car, you're not going to get that opportunity. So they can come to school and they can celebrate in the fact that, as a parent, I know my kids would have been in that program if they wanted to or not. Just saying. Okay. So this is really exciting. 94% of our school district staff is certified, and 6% are working on their certification. Out of the 94% of our certified staff, 27% hold a master's degree or higher. That, you cannot compare that. No one around can touch that. Okay, this is big for us. This was a huge deal for our teachers, thanks to Tammy Humphreys and our Glades County Teachers Union. Our teachers' starting salary is $50,000, first-year teacher. We are the highest in the consortium, and we are one of the highest in the state of Florida. We have established a Cub Care. One of the things our parents at West Glades asked, we need after school and before school care. So we started a Cub Care where we have about 40 students that come prior to and stay after school. We have an advanced learning track, kindergarten through 8th grade. We've established a gifted program, and we have built a new ESE program. We have reignited our art program at West Glades, and we have our new VPK program. If you have heard anything from Glades County Schools, you probably heard we're talking about trades, and we want, not everybody wants to go to college. Have you ever tried to get a plumber in the middle of the night? You don't care. You want that plumber to come to your house. We're really pushing that in the school district, and we started with our nursing. We have our nursing program to becoming BLS providers, and when they graduate, CNA students will be going to HOSA's regional conference and competition in January, and they will compete with in first aid. They're also going to start their finger and their application in March to sit for their CNA exams. Let me say that's a big thing, because if you know anyone in healthcare, they're going to say we need CNAs. Our school is turning them out. We're going to be able to provide that pipeline for the students. Moorhaven High School's ag department, with grant funds, has purchased a tractor and has also and West Glades and Moorhaven High School have purchased side-by-sides for their ag programs. Moorhaven Elementary is seeing amazing gains, over 33% increase in proficiency since August. Kindergarten, 3rd grade, 33%, 4th grade, 30%, and overall in ELA, which is your language arts, they're seeing a 22% in proficiency, and that's just since August. In math, you're seeing about 11% overall increase in proficiencies. Our after-school program is off to a great start, and we have 60 kids here in Moorhaven that are participating in that. So we have great things happening in the Glades County School District, and we're so excited to work with the city and the county to continue the wonderful things that we are doing. Yes, sir.
One thing I want to mention too that I kind of left out, Greg Kelly, who's our architect, who's with us tonight, and I know that when we went to the county commissioners, we talked a little bit about hurricane shelters, and you want to explain a little bit what's going to be in the school as far as?
We will need to sit down with the city and the county and discuss what that means, what we will make EHPA, Enhanced Hurricane Protection Areas, in the school. So that is a dialogue we will be having forthcoming. Once we understand the funding is secured, we have it, and then we'll sit down and have that conversation.
We're definitely concerned about making sure that the community is safe here in Moorhaven, because right now our only hurricane shelter is West Glades, which is quite a drive for a lot of our folks.
to invite the county.
How am I gonna top that? But I'm gonna let the county manager handle it.
From a legislative standpoint, this year, I know we're looking at going through, for us, it's a little bit different. I mean, we're more worried now, I guess, we're with our jail facilities. So we're gonna be looking into the funding for our, administrative portions for our jail facilities here in Glades County. We are also continuing the water sewer projects to give a basis for more utilities throughout the area. So those are our bigger priorities. Moravian Canal obviously continues on, but we are a rural area and we're really working hard with EDC. We need to bring businesses here. We need to bring more kids to these schools. So we need to bring more businesses here to those schools. It was huge this year for iTech to come in. We do have iTech in one of our facilities now. I know they're teamed with the school, which has been a fantastic endeavor, I think, from both sides of it. So things are a little bit different with Glades County. You know, we're focused on a lot of items coming in. But with that, I'm going to keep it brief and come sit with us tomorrow morning. We'll have our Board of County Commissioners meeting and kind of show you what we're doing as well. So with that, tonight was more about the school guys.
All right.
And y'all helping us.
Okay. And the city.
Flip over who's going to speak. You going to do it?
That's fine.
Okay.
Some of our ongoing projects, the city council authorized upgrading various aging systems with limited capabilities that provide service to the residents and community. We have a new financial system that we went live on October 1st. We replaced an aging system with a new cloud-based system capable of providing online services to the community. In addition, we have a new city website that was launched to host online services and provide added services to the residents and community. And also they approved the purchase of equipment and services for online broadcast of council meetings and other important events. So with the upcoming expansion of rural broadband, these upgrades will allow the city to stay better connected and provide greater services to all the community and residents. Our downtown revitalization stormwater and roadway improvement project. This $1.9 million project was to create an updated downtown area that provided for road reconstruction, drainage, and stormwater improvements along Avenue J and Riverside Drive, around Avenue K and City Hall, city parks, and the library, and also to create a layout for a business district. The Florida Department of Economic Opportunity provided funding of $1,084,102, which is what the governor showed up and presented that check for here a few months ago for the project. And the Florida Department of Environmental Protection also provided additional funding of $934,960 for the drainage and stormwater improvements. So hopefully we'll come out with getting state funding for the entire project. We hope we should be going out to bid early 2023 for this project. I know it's been a long time coming, and hopefully we'll get moving on the project. Recently, the City Commission approved future land use and zoning changes for the marina and the new designated downtown area. The new land use and zoning changes provides for density and height allowances, increased density and height allowances for those areas to help promote economic development in the area. In the FY 2023-24 SCOP municipal program for road resurfacing, the city was awarded $189,800 to resurface the following streets. One is 8th Street between Avenue J and Avenue M, Avenue K between 8th Street and 9th Street, and Avenue M between 7th and 8th Street and 8th Street. We should get the grant agreement in October 2022 timeframe with resurfacing in early 2024. Currently, the SCOP cycle for 2024 and 2025 is open until March 31st, and we're in the process now of developing the application. The water treatment plant, the City Council approved the purchase and installation of an automatic control panel and equipment to automate the backflow process that will help improve water quality and allow for both on-site and remote control of the process from funding provided through the American Rescue Plan Act funding. This will greatly improve water quality and also allow for less waste.
this automatic backwash system allows for 3 types of controls through the SCADA process, allows both remote access and on-site access. And we're currently in the process of getting quotes for this system. For the legislative and grant priorities for the upcoming session, the city is requesting funding for 500 linear feet extension of the existing seawall in the marina to meet the demands and hopefully spur development. This project is shovel ready because previously the city received and completed a grant for the design of this extension of the seawall, and the permitting was accomplished through the Army Corps. So it is, like I said, shovel ready project. We're also requesting funding for advanced metering infrastructure systems for electric and water. This system will utilize a smart utility-grade communication network that provides operational details such as peak flows, control swap, conservation, and prevention of damage, allows remote access, and it enhances security and resilience. And then a third funding request is going in to City Hall hardening improvement study to determine what the needs improvements are needed for safety and for operation of both staff and customers. And of course, we'll go for grant opportunities to help offset some of the funding that we'll need for those projects. For the wastewater treatment plant, I think they mentioned that through CCPWA, they authorized the purchase and installation of a new aeration panels at the sewer plant. These panels will replace the current panels that have been in place for an extended period of time. They're far past their useful life, but some of them are no longer in operation. And I think Mr. Brown said he indicated more these panels will greatly increase the effectiveness of the sewer plant. They're due in mid-February, and we'll be looking for a bid to go out to have someone come in, demolish and construct the building. As far as the upcoming session, the county manager mentioned that they're also looking for funding for a phase 3 wastewater treatment plant MBR expansion project, basically to install a third membrane that will greatly expand the capacity of the plant for future planned expansion of the sewer system. And in addition, I think they requested for the next project about the state septic to sewer improvements project. And again, like I said, we're trying to get grants opportunities to offset some of the costs of these projects.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you,
Larry.
Mr. Mayor, that was very impressive. I don't know who compiled it, but I would like to have an email copy. I was like an annual report for the county. This is very thorough. I appreciate it.
He did that.
With the mayor standing over.
See, Mom and Daddy gave Beth talk, gave me the good looks.
Okay. I'll open the floor to public comment. I guess you just stand where you're seated. Start with the front row. Anybody on the front row?
We have a card. There's a
Oh.
card. I have somebody to do
Oh,
the
okay,
card.
excuse me.
Jerica Baker.
Okay.
Jerica Baker. I'm a good friend of Florida. The pre-COVID, I was here and I coached basketball and women's softball. And in 2022, this past season, I coached softball, basketball, and volleyball. This season, I'm not coaching. However, I was not let go. I was not fired. I was not even contacted regarding that. And it's something I'm truly passionate about, like sports, but specifically softball. I went to college to play ball. And the administration here didn't bother to reach out. They actually reached out to my assistant coach. And my assistant coach called me and she said, "Hey, why aren't you coaching?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Well, the school just called me and asked me if I wanted to take over the program." So that's how I found out. And I called the assistant principal at the time, and he just was like, "I didn't know." Like, I was told from the principal to call and start looking for someone to take your position. So it was never taken to me, and which is something that, it hurt my feelings, but it's just for me, it's truly unprofessional. And we brought in, if you ask A.B. Rhymes, the programs that I was over, volleyball, at women's basketball and softball, we never asked for one single dollar from the school. We never even barely touched our accounts. We fundraised, Mr. Jay can tell you, like, he's come to the baseball field. We did a whole bunch of community events. We did dinner sales. We had, I think we've had over $6,000 in our softball account. I got a donation from the Seminole Tribe Council's office, Larry Howard, and it wasn't even for any of my programs that I was coaching. That money went to buy a new refrigerator and the concession stand because it went out. So I took a letter that I typed up to Dr. Barfield. She signed it. I took it to Larry Howard, and he had the donation that next week. That money didn't go to any of the programs that I coached. It didn't go to any of the programs that my parents were involved in. It went to the programs where they didn't fundraise as much. So there's a lot more that I'd like to say. I'll leave my information. I know we only get 3 minutes, but it's just something that has been sitting with me, and it's softball season now, so it's just kind of really been like tugging at me. So I just felt like this was a really good opportunity for me to come and let the school board know, and specifically like that there is a problem with the administration here that goes beyond athletics, and a lot of the time, like, athletics are the reason that these kids come to school, and we have people that are coaching those teams that don't have the best interests at heart for those kids. They're here for a stipend. And I'm just gonna be honest, I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but $4,000 is nothing to me. That stipend didn't matter because half of the time, that stipend that I got went to pay for kids' meals that were on that team because they wanted to be there, and their parents didn't have enough money to send them to those games with food for afterwards. And I'm not gonna let a kid go hungry whenever I have the means to pay for them. So a lot of the time, that stipend means nothing to me at the end of the day. And a lot of the people that are coaching now are there for a stipend, and it's not fair to the kids because we have people that are not educated. We have people that are not, that's not their talent or not their, area brought into the school district. They were promised these jobs, so other people that cared about those teams and those athletics got kicked out.
Thank you, I appreciate your comment. Anybody else? Anything else, Dr. Barfield?
I don't have anything.
Sorry, I was taking them off, sorry.
Okay.
I just wanna, as far as the proposal for the school, I don't know if y'all thought about this, I know that pros and cons are listed for both sites and all that, but just to give y'all an idea of, the safety portion as far as being right beside any housing development, for me as a mom and a teacher, I like coming on the weekends, or I like being late at night, and I don't care what houses, apartments, condos, duplexes, a rural farmhouse next door to me is still a concern for me. The location of the school right now, away from everything around it. I mean, the closest homes are a street over where like Jason and them live. For those who know, we're talking about Jason Griner and them. That portion of it, and the other concept, and if you've never been a teacher, you don't understand what it's like to have to take 60 kindergartners across the street to practice for kindergarten graduation, practice for a Christmas pageant, to practice for other things we would like to do more of since we do have arts in our school now. We're actually gonna say that we're gonna do that for them. Us having to get on a bus from K to 5 possibly and bus us all to the auditorium because we have this beautiful facility now. But us moving all the way across a whole field is gonna make that even more of an inconvenience. Personally, the baseball field option was the best for me, and I know that might inconvenience, but small, painful growths are not gonna outweigh, to me, on the end, the benefit of having a place that is completely kind of closed off. And as a parent, I just give my 2 cents. The highway doesn't make no difference to me if my kids are inside the building and the playground's on the other side, or however it's gonna be function. There was no plan for that, so I don't know what it's gonna look like. I guess that wasn't even a consideration to look at the plan for that. But if you've never had to move a whole school across the street, we just did it for our Christmas pageant. From pre-K to K, or to 5, that's 300 and however that number was of our whole school going across the street. We can do it safely because we have the road and because we know we're going from A to B. There is no on the bus, there is no there is no that. So I don't want to feel like what I'm saying is falling on deaf ears. So you know, I get that feeling a lot sometimes that some things that we concern or say falls on deaf ears, not because there's not a response, but because there's actually no like, hey, yeah, I work for y'all, so I get your email and I know your emails and you have mine. So anything like that would be awesome. But I don't know if you'll ask, I don't know any teachers or anything that didn't come, but the 15 or so that I've asked, we didn't really like that one as an option. When they told them where, they were like, ooh, not because of any other thing, but because we immediately all thought about when we were coming from the Christmas play, coming across the street. So if you had never thought about having to move 300 and something kids across the street, I would make that a serious consideration for you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just want to say this to end our meeting. First off, thank you so much for coming. It doesn't matter if we agree, if we don't agree, but as long as we're working together and we're open to hear what other people say. Sometimes it's hard to hear other ideas and other things that maybe you don't agree on, but I sent a letter out to my entire staff. I'm going to stand my back to you. And I wanted to rephrase what I said to them. Because it's talked about life is, but I'm going to change life is to being on a political board, an institution, either a school board or a city council or a county commission seat. It's like a camera. We have to focus on what's important. We should always keep the number one. Do I agree? Does everybody agree with that? And the number one is the future of our community. And if you're not here tonight because of the future of our community, then you're at the wrong table. You got to capture the good times, develop from the negatives, and there's a lot of this. There's never going to be 100% buy-in on anything you do. I can't even wait to even discuss paint the thing, what color we're going to paint it, because then we're going to really open up a can of worms. But we have to focus on what's best for our students, and then if you take another shot. And I think that's what remember that. As we're all in this building, we're all here not because we didn't have anything else to do tonight. I'm sure I know there's a big football game. I mean, we're all going to watch TCU win, but anyway. But you're here tonight because you care about our kids, and that's what's important. So if we agree, disagree, the fact that we can have these conversations, that's what. Why are we having this meeting? Because by statute, we have to have this meeting. There's a Florida statute that says that we have to have this meeting yearly, because it's important that we are open and that we do hear what the city's doing and what the county's doing. Because when we go to Tallahassee, we need to speak on behalf of our county. Or I'm with the county, or I'm with the school. No, I'm with Glades County, and we're proud. And God, we're our own worst enemy. Now, we have so much going against us, but we have so much going for us. And I was just telling somebody the other day, they were from Fort Lauderdale area, and they said, oh my gosh, Moorhaven, I just heard about that. That's where all the growth's fixing to happen. You know, my heart sank a little bit because, 47 years school district. I mean, I'm used to people knowing my name, but you know what? I want to have a world-class education system for our school district. I want to be able to have great businesses and have housing for our citizens. I want to be able to have a great city, park and continue the great things that they're doing at the city and for the county and the wonderful things that are happening there. So we really appreciate you coming tonight. If you have our own meetings, we'd like to invite you to those meetings, to speak at those meetings. I can promise you, I can speak for the school board. When you speak, you're not falling on deaf ears. We want to hear what you're saying. We encourage you to come. I will also tell you, I know I've spoken already about Ms. Humphreys about our union. Our negotiator will tell you he's never seen anything like what's going on in Glades County, what's going on between Glades County negotiations and our union. Usually it's us against them. That's Glades County. We're all in, we're all for the kids. So we encourage you to go to the city council meetings and when there's a public comment, get up and talk, because here's what's going to happen. The little phone calls, hey, did you hear this rumor? I heard 10 rumors today about things that was going to happen. I'm going to tell you, and as address it openly, then we can progress as a community. Have a good evening and go TCU.
When do you guys think you're gonna start construction?